CBS Sports HQ presented by Verbo. Now, unlike last week, just a trio of ranked games this week in college football. Top of the marquee, number 8 Tennessee in Death Valley to take on number 25 LSU. Tigers going for their 6th straight win in that series. They are underdogs there. The only two remaining unbeaten teams in the top 2 divisions of college football meet in Kansas. Jayhawks welcoming TCU, the Horned Frogs 9-1 versus Kansas since joining the Big 12. And 11 Utah goes to 18 UCLA. The Utes won this game by 20 points last season. Let's discuss how to make some money on these games with our guy, Jon Berger. But before we get to that, John, we have an accountability check to do. How did things go last week?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Yeah, it did not go very well last week. But as I said, coming in.
Hey, look it. We were 4-1 in the NFL prop bets. We got blown up in the college market. But in terms of the pool of dollars, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah,
it's basically a wash after all that fun.
Exactly. And that's what you do. As long as you break even, then, that's okay. You want to make some money, but if you break even, that's fine.
All right. It's fine. As long as you're not turning red every week. I mean, that's the name of the game. So we're, look, we don't ever put the same amount of money on games. You and I talk about this all the time. That's the stupidest thing ever. So your more confident bets, especially in the college market, you kind of load up on those. But some of these games, you just got to do it for fun. I mean, what's more fun than watching a Saturday night game at 11 o'clock in the Mountain West when Air Force is playing like New Mexico? I mean, how great is that? Right?
And having a little sweat about it, too. All right.
And having some fun about it because you're the only guy in there that cares.
Exactly.
And people are trying to figure out why you care. And it's like, it's kind of fun.
Just a little bit. All right, John's got his small coffee. He's ready to go. Let's dive into these ranked games, starting with Tennessee at LSU. The Tigers have dominated this series since 2005, John. The line started with the Volunteers, 3.5-point favorites on the road. It's now down to 3. The total has jumped from 62 to 65. So how are you attacking these numbers?
Jeremy, I look at, there was 2 teams that I kept thinking over the last week or two that like the shoe was going to drop. One of them was Kansas and one of them was Tennessee. And I don't think that shoe is going to drop, and I don't think that's coming. So I'm going to start drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid here. When you drive into this game, obviously going into LSU is one of the harder places to go on the road. I do believe in this team. I believe in Hendon Hooker at the quarterback position. If you haven't followed this guy, I think you're going to start seeing his name get a lot more publicity on a national basis. He's having a ridiculously good season. Hasn't thrown a pick the entire year, which is a little bit odd given his number of attempts right now, but he's also completing over 71% of his passes. The other thing I'll tell you, Jeremy, is I'm going to take Tennessee in this situation to cover the points for 2 reasons. Point 1 is in the first quarter, this is a team that's one of the better teams in the country of getting on top of you and scoring points in the first quarter, which is awfully important when you go on the road to play LSU. What the coaches tell you when you go down there to play those guys, after people have been drinking in the parking lot for 12 or 14 hours, do not go out there and get a touchdown or 2 down because it's going to be really, really hard to climb out of that hole. I don't think Tennessee's going to do that. The other thing is in a slugfest, SEC slugfest, that's usually won in the trenches, where the run games are somewhat neutralized. I look at the team in this situation that can throw the ball better. Remember, Tennessee's top 5 in the country throwing. LSU is not even in the top 70. So when you wind all that up, I'm impressed with what Tennessee has done so far. I don't think the shoe's going to drop. Hooker's great at the quarterback position. I think they'll come out, start fast. It's going to be a close game, but I'm going to take Tennessee to cover these points.
Tennessee's last win over LSU was in Baton Rouge 17 years ago. They won 30-27 in overtime. All right, let's talk about the battle. The battle of the unbeatens, which is going on in Lawrence, Kansas. The 5-0 Jayhawks hosting 4-0 TCU. TCU started here 5-point favorites. That has jumped to 6.5. The total also jumping up a bit as well here from 67 and a hook to 69. Both these teams, John, perfect against the spread this season, but something's got to give.
Yeah, something's got to give. This is an easy one, though, man. Take the over. You look at both teams. They're having great seasons. Max Duggan at the quarterback position last week for TCU. It boggles my mind how this guy lost his starting job coming into the season. There's no amount of money that I would not have bet if you would have told me to take that bet early in the season. That's how consistent this guy has been. Keep in mind, last week, comes off the bench, puts up over 400 yards total offense. This guy looked remarkable. The offense was clearly in sync. Defense looks good. Kansas is the real deal, man. I mean, this is a good football team. I talked earlier about thinking that the shoe was going to drop. It's not. Jalen Daniels at the quarterback position, one of the more versatile quarterbacks you're going to see, can create, improvise. can get the ball downfield. He's got a lot of confidence in his arm strength, doesn't do a lot of stupid things with the football. So Kansas is real. I just think in this situation, the safer bet is to take the over. I think both defenses are going to struggle to keep up with both offenses in this situation. I think it's going to turn into a Big 12 scoring fest. I think it's going to be really fun to watch. I just think the safer bet here is to take the over in this situation. That's what we're doing.
TCU 21-point home favorites last year, but needed a field goal with 6 seconds left to get the win. All right, the last ranked game, ranked on ranked, 11 Utah at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena to take on UCLA. The Utes started as 1-point favorites, so essentially a pick 'em, but that's now 3.5. The total unchanged at 64.5. So, JB, where's the value for you here?
Small bet. This one's hard to sort out. You can see the number moving, the over-unders moving up and down. What I can tell you is this, is Utah the last several years has just been more physical than UCLA. I can tell you that the teams that go on the road that are physical and tough, that doesn't change when you go on the road. That travels well, and Utah has traveled well with that kind of mentality. Kyle Whittingham's group's going to show up. They're going to be aggressive. You look at this UCLA team, they've struggled against Utah since Chip Kelly has gotten there. This is going to be a different deal, though. I don't like the fact that the Rose Bowl, where UCLA's home field is going to be half empty, the fans that are there are probably going to be on the Utah side of the fence. So there's a lot of variables here, not a lot of consistency to kind of anchor off an educated position here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take UCLA in this situation just because it's a home team and I'm getting points. You can make the same argument on the other side. Take a small bet. I don't think that Utah is going to be more physical for the first year in 4 years than UCLA is. This defense is much improved. They're a much more physical team. They've got an attitude. They've got something to prove at home. I don't think you put a lot of money on it, but I'm going to go ahead and take UCLA in the points.
The Utes have won the last 4 games by an average margin of 32 points. Wagering expert Jon Berger helping you pad that bankroll with some early college football picks. Great stuff as always, John. We'll talk to you on Saturday. Let's recap his picks for the ranked games this weekend. He likes Tennessee at the 3 as they go to Death Valley to take on LSU. That over-under sitting at 65. It's a high one. Speaking of the over-under, John says go over in TCU versus Kansas, the last 2 remaining undefeated teams in the 2 levels of FBS football, going at it in Lawrence, and UCLA plus the 3.5 at home versus Utah. And John likes that one.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.